Just making sure everything is up and running. Hello. Hello, peace lovers and peacemakers. Welcome to Peace Mindedly, a podcast featuring peaceful bridge makers. One of the Actually, our bridge maker today is Mansoor Adayfi, a writer, advocate, and former Guantanamo detainee who was held captive for 14 years in Guantanamo prison. Not too long before 9/11, Mansour left Yemen to do a cultural mission in Afghanistan. So he was basically done with everything he needed to do in Afghanistan, and he was on his way home to Yemen with all the things that he needed. He with the recommendation letters, with the credentials to basically submit his application for an engineer school in United Arab Emirates, his dream university and place that he wanted to study engineering. But something happened. Something happened that changed his life forever. He was kidnapped by warlords in Afghanistan. And then he was sold to American militaries before it was actually after 9/11. It was after 9/11. And then he was transferred to Guantanamo prison. United States of America committed heinous crimes against humanity in Guantanamo when she captured Mansour and many other Muslim doctors, journalists, students, farmers, tribal leaders, so forth and so on. I mean, and all of those happened just accusing them of oftentimes baseless and oftentimes wrong by acting against the American interest. And then in Guantanamo prison, they were tortured mercilessly. Voices like Mansour is very important. We can learn about those crimes that the United States of America is committing in the name of protecting its democracy. Don't forget us here. Lost and Found in Guantanamo is Mansour's story of inspiration, survival, resistance, and hope during the darkest hours, days, and months and years in his life. Mansour arrived in prison, only shying away few months shying away from his teenage years, and then he survived the camp's infamous interrogation program. Later, he became feared and respected by guards and staff for arranging riots and hunger strikes, protesting inhumane treatment in prison. Due to his uplift spirit, and I mean, you're going to see he is such a light heart, light spirit, and a happy person, so to speak. I mean, in contrast in what happened to him, he always held a high spirit for himself, that he gained a very interesting nickname. The nickname was Smiley Troublemaker. Being smart throughout his life, he learned English and he learned computer skills, and now he is studying very hard to go to an engineer program in Belgrade in Serbia. So I am bringing Mansour into our studio. Hello, Mansour, and I know that you told me you would like to open the program with something special, and I cannot wait to hear.
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me today. And let us introduce our culture to the our dear listeners and viewers. So it's Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Mansoor Adayfi, former Guantanamo detainee. I'm from Yemen. And يا هلا يا هلا ومرحبا حياكم الله حياكم الله وارحبوا وارحبوا هلا يا هلا يا هلا ومرحبا أهلا وسهلا حياكم الله. And
Excellent.
I would like to start with
Mansour, what
the
is Hayakumullah? What is Hayakumullah?
mean welcome. May Allah welcome you. It's like it's used in our culture, people, especially in the tribe society. When people came, they were like welcome people. Hello, marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan, hayakum Allah, hayakum Allah. So you can see that people, it show warmth and love and respect and this is kind of beauty of the culture we live in. And I could see in the show, the shows, it becomes like a typical and routine. We need to break that. We need to introduce some of our culture that's still alive there. Bring it to the show. Let people listen to it. So also,
Absolutely.
I would like you guys to give you a song from Guantanamo, which actually,
Yay! I love it. Yes.
yes, yes. So let's start by singing. So basically, that song, I'm going to talk about it later when you sing. But let us sing first. حبا حبا باللي جا باللي جا يا مرحبا باللي جا باللي جا حبا حبا باللي جا باللي جا يا مرحبا باللي جا باللي جا. That song we used to sing it at Guantanamo for each other, which means welcome, welcome by the one who come, welcome, welcome. That song we used to sing it for each other, especially for the new brothers who arrive at Guantanamo new. You know, they would be in a long, hard, and painful trip. When they arrive, you know, they call seize moved in the camp. Nobody talk, no, like dead silence. So we keep silence, and then when they start moving, the brothers, and we start singing, all the blacks collectively. Imagine 100, 200, or 250 men singing at the same time. So imagine you have been in like 40 hours painful journey, being beaten, you know, and when you arrived, you would hear people singing. The brother said, "We thought, are they in some kind like enjoying themselves in like in a trip on a park or whatever?" So we tried to send a message to them: "Don't worry, you'll be fine," and also to distract them from the situation because the interrogation has some kind of like they intentionally led them to stay long time, night all night, and they would just interrogate them for hours and hours. That's what we did with one song. It take maybe a few minutes. We break that. We tried to assure the brothers everything will be fine. So
Mhm.
when the brothers arrive in the cages, when they take the hood, the hood off, they will look. We thought you guys in some kind of like crazy place. What are you? Why are you singing? We said, "Come on, you guys." We were in
Yes.
cages, but at the same time, it was some
Uh-huh.
kind of like we weren't organized. Just it's like we introduced our culture, so welcoming people and singing for them. Yeah,
And
sorry.
Mansoor, were people in the camp were mostly Arabs and Muslims?
Yeah, but let us introduce to Guantanamo. Guantanamo, as you know, created outside of the law, outside of the justice system, outside of the law, outside of the humanity. So the men who were in Guantanamo, they weren't in the battlefield holding like guns or like have drones or like sending rockets to the United States. No, those men were 50 nationalities, over 20 languages spoken, and around 800 men. The youngest detainee was only 3 months old. The oldest was 105 years old.
Three
Those men
months?
weren't in Afghanistan holding guns. You know, those men brought from
Mansoor,
different parts.
Mansoor, you
Yes,
said 3 months?
yes. The youngest detainee was only 3 months old. I
How
mean, this
come?
is Guantanamo, the upside down world. I mean, that question we should ask the CIA. We should ask the George W. Bush.
So they you were freezed. You were freezed. Give me 1 second. You were freezed.
Yeah.
You were
Yes.
freezed. Give me one
So
second.
I think
I
your
want to
internet is
back
bad.
up. Give me 1 second. I want to back up. So so one thing I would like us to do, please close all the tabs except this one. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is your internet, not mine.
My internet? Okay, good, good. That's okay. So we
Yes.
can fix that. We
Yes.
can
Yes.
fix that. I'll fix it when we are doing this conversation. Mansoor, the 3-month-olds came with their mothers or fathers?
No, well, they brought him with his father.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, his father his father was sold to the CIA, and the Pakistani government told the CIA this is guy that boy related to Osama bin Laden, so like immediately shipped him to Guantanamo, and
Mhm.
there was a special camp for kids between 10 years until like maybe 14. Some of the
Mhm.
kids were with us 15 and 16. They were with us in the camp, you know, in solitary confinement in the camp. But the younger detainees, they were in Camp Iguana. The
Mhm.
youngest one was at the hospital.
Mhm.
In the
The
hospital, yeah,
youngest one was in the hospital.
yeah.
Oh, so this is mind blowing. This is mind blowing that you have had very young. Oh my God! And then, but this was basically by the song. For those of you who've been in prison for such long time, wanted to break the barrier of being really frightened within this space.
You know, let me finish like the introduction. So
Yes,
those men
yes.
were brought from different parts of the world, from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Saudi, from Africa, from Bosnia, from Mauritania, from different parts of the world. Some of us sent to the black side, torture in the worst way. Some of the
Mhm.
prisoners died in the black side. Allah knows how many detainees tortured and how many of them died in the black sites. As you know, the CIA destroyed all the evidence. Even the Senate torture report, most of them like just they redacted. So basically, when we arrived at Guantanamo, many of us were came from the tribe background, and as you know, like tribe background people live with dignity, honor, courage, and transparency and hospitality. We are not like the Hollywood movies, ignorant or stupid people know nothing. No, we have a really a beautiful culture. So when we arrive at Guantanamo, what makes us who we are as a person is even you or the listener. What makes you who you are? Those things, those traits makes you who are, like your value, your belief, your religion, your culture, your emotions, your relationship, your memories, your experience, your knowledge. I mean, this makes each of us individual person. So at Guantanamo, we just wanted to be who we are. That's what we know. But at Guantanamo, it was about control. They want to control everything in our life, every single moment, everything, every move. So that control means they wanted to change us into something that we weren't. They weren't. They want to show the world, as they say. They told the world we brought the worst of the worst, terrorists, vicious killers. So I mean, so they treated us accordingly. Even some of the guards, when they arrived to work at Guantanamo, they were really scared and afraid. But when they left us for few months, the reality, contradict what they have been told by their own superiors. So many of the guards start apologizing. Some of them actually convert to Islam when they saw what the Chinese, because you cannot convince, if as a human, to convince him that a man a criminal, what the criminal look like. So, like as I told you, 50 nationalities and over 20 languages spoken. This is just introduction to Guantanamo. Some
So
of
this
us
is
spent
my
5 years.
question. Going back and referring to you just what said, I had this question that if any of those interrogators were in your, I mean, when you were under interrogation and you were going through heinous experiences, I mean, difficult experiences, did you ever have this feeling that what would be my interrogators feelings if he was in my place sitting here?
Yes, we
Uh-huh.
always ask them, especially like, put yourself in my position. They said, no, no,
Mhm.
no, don't talk to me like that. I don't want to be in your position. So we used to tell them, who is the terrorist when they started, because Guantanamo is a symbol of torture, injustice, oppression, lawlessness, abuse of power. So when they were torturing us, I told them, who is the terrorist now? Really, who's the terrorist? You or me? You are torturing me. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I have done. No charge, no accusation. You refuse to put me before your justice system. You don't trust your justice system. You don't trust your country. You don't trust your law. You don't trust your constitution. So when they beat us and torture us, because this is systematic torture, we used to tell them, who is the terrorist now? What you're doing, like, this is the terror. This is terrorism when you torture, abduct, and torture innocent people. And we told them, if you trust your justice system, if you believe we have committed a crime, we're ready to be prosecuted before your justice system. We're not afraid. We have done nothing wrong. But it wasn't about, it wasn't about justice. It wasn't about, protecting American or America. No, it was, Guantanamo turned to be an experimenting lab to experiment on prisoners. If you now just Google Guantanamo America's Battle Lab, you would see a report by Seton Hall Law University. 80 some pages talk about how Guantanamo were transferred, or what was actually an experimenting lab on prisoners. This is what the purpose of Guantanamo. Now, 20 years, last month, was
Mhm,
the
mhm,
20th anniversary
mhm,
of Guantanamo.
mhm,
And it is so sad, it is shame. After 20 years, we are still talking about closing. Why Guantanamo should be closed? Guantanamo shouldn't exist in the first place.
mhm,
This is the reality. And
mhm.
people still still like debating about closing Guantanamo. Democrats, the Democrats and the Republicans. Guantanamo shouldn't exist in the first place. Guantanamo gives some kind of legitimacy to tyrants around the world. They
Mhm.
created their own Guantanamos.
One thing that comes in my mind is this. I'm from Iran, and the Iran prison system and torture system is notorious. They just silenced the Green Movement when people were on the street asking, "Where is my vote?" And then notorious in Iraq, notorious in Syria. Now I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, if we are saying that the United States is a democratic nation and we should look up to the United States. But when such a thing happens in the United States, in Guantanamo, wouldn't we give a sort of a green light to many of the other nations to do the same heinous crime
Yeah, it
against?
is. Yeah, it is. It is. The United States, people look at United as their example, because
Mhm,
also at
mhm,
the same time, United States government present themselves as the police, the world police. So what they did at Guantanamo. What you see now, what happened in, for example, China against the Uyghurs, what we are seeing now in many countries, especially in Arab countries. Just to be accused of terrorism, people get afraid and scared. Then
mhm,
it becomes just a mean and pretext to persecute people, to oppress them, to unjustly and indefinitely detain them and torture them under the name of terrorism. When we come like, is terrorism a crime? Let us say, is terrorism a crime? Okay, it's a crime. How we should deal with the crime? There is a
mhm,
law, there is justice, and what we are seeing now in the world. Just
mhm,
until yesterday, the invasion of Ukraine. It is the lack of injustice, the failure to apply justice, either in the individual level, life, the family, a community, a country, and even in our environment.
mhm,
Justice means put the right thing in the right place. This is what justice is: put the right things in the right place. The right person in the right place, the right rule, law in the right place. So when we start, tipping that balance, that create destruction, chaos, wars, starvation, you name it. So
mhm. So you're
P-
talking about
peace can, yeah,
terrorists.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's finish your
I mean,
sentence.
like, peace can achieve only by justice.
Can only be achieved by justice. Give me a moment. Yeah, I'm gonna fix the line. Okay, so peace can be achieved by justice. Finish your sentence.
I said peace can't achieve only by justice.
Cannot only
Other,
achieve by justice. Uh huh.
yeah, only by justice, only through justice.
Only
I
through
mean,
justice.
justice only through justice.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are seeing, like, what you see.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen wars after wars. When it comes, why this is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is within our heart. I mean, not us as human, like within those leaders. There
Mm-hmm.
is, there's greediness, selfish, hate,
Mm-hmm.
grudge, ignorance, the worst of ignorance at the same time. It's not the ignorance that the typical ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
There's some kind of, we call it in Arabic, al-jahl murakkab, the
Mm-hmm.
complex
Mm-hmm.
ignorance,
Yes,
which
yes.
there is a simple ignorance and there is like a complex ignorance. The
So
complex
here's
ignorance
here's
is,
my take. Here's my take. Bear with me. Um, this is so the premise of this program is peace. And then the reason that we are doing peace, we are saying peace and we are saying peace journalism because I was a war correspondent. I covered war and I covered chaos and chaotic moments. So I know that peace is not the absence of war. Peace is when probably oftentimes when if we are talking about the social construct, when a nation goes through war and basically reaches peace and stability and whatever we desire to call it. But here's the thing, at least in the US media or in the media as a powerful medium, we do not talk about what happened that this terrorism really created. We do not talk about US aggression in the Middle East, US aggression. Right now, US aggression that pulled out its military from Afghanistan and created chaos. It's a chaos in Afghanistan. People, many women just murdered a few days ago. So we are not talking about US aggression. We are not talking about US aggression against Iran with all of those sanctions, US aggression in Syria with the invasion, US aggression in Iraq with the invasion and any of this. And then we just saying, oh, okay, of course this is bad. What has been created that is creating this kind of animosity? This is my point. But here is, as I was reading your book, I was really taken by the other amazing, beautiful author that I truly respect, Viktor Franklin. He wrote A Man's Search for Meaning. He survived Auschwitz concentration camp. At the time, being Jewish was a crime. Like now in the United States and many of the Western countries, being a Muslim is a crime, right? And then he survived the concentration camp. He came out and he basically said something that I could find throughout your book. He said, at the very darkest hour and very difficult moments of my life, the only thing that could help me going, the only thing was hope. Number one. So I'm going to ask you, what was it for you? And number two, he mentions that really stayed with me, has stayed with me forever, is that when the Nazi were coming after to take the inmates, we basically knew that who is going to survive and who is not going to survive. And basically we knew that who they are going to take. People who just gave up life. By giving up life, cigar or a cigarette was an important commodity. When they started just giving out their cigarettes or giving out their food or giving out any very limited property they had, we knew that they are given up and they are ready to die. So I want to see first, what is hope for you in Guantanamo? We are talking about really dark stuff that you even don't want to mention in the book. So what really get you going? What kind of hope? You're talking about a female voice and really suits you and made you at ease for a few moments, and whether or not you knew that an inmate or any of your friends are not going to make it because they've given up.
You know, to survive, survival, many factors play in survival. So basically, as I told you, what makes you who you are, the traits we mentioned before, those actually will play an important and crucial role in your survival at any deal. So basically, at Guantanamo, one of the main things that helped us to survive was our religion, because we thought in a place we were just disconnected from the world, and even the policy and the torture that designed to break us over and over again and to separate your mind of your body. So we become close to Allah in our religion. At that time, your belief, it helps you to not to trust your captor. At the same time, it connects you to your creator. That's what started first. Secondly, hope is life. One of my paintings, I painted a flower half dead and half life, and there is like a thin line between the, between the dead half and the life half. And I said, this is hope. It means hope is the thin line between life and death. When people give hope, they actually give life. They could physically, they would be alive, but uh, there is no life within them. Just they become a ghost. They become a shell. Like there is no life within them when people start giving
So you saw
hope.
that. You saw that in one of some of the inmates?
Yes, we saw many of them, especially some of them become like where by interrogator they will get some kind of drug, become a drug addict. Some of them they were they played by the interrogator, and so on. At the same time, when you isolate yourself from your captor, there is no trust. Whatever you do, and like for me, I remember one of the interrogators. He came to me. He said, "You better start to cooperate with me." I said, "Okay." And it was like 3 nights of torture and sleep deprivation. And he told me, your case is on the desk of George W. Bush. You will never leave this place. You will die here, and we are going to let you rot in your cage. I said, can I ask you a question? I was really young. I said, do you think if your president, you said he told me he's the most powerful man on the planet. So for me, I didn't give a shit about it. Sorry for this word. So I said, do you think if you're this most powerful man, if he get diarrhea, will be able to control his asshole? He said, no. I said, okay, if he cannot control his own shit, how he can control my life? I mean, it is simple logic. It is simple.
Exactly. Very simple logic.
Yes. So he was like, looked at me. I said, look, I believe everything in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No matter what you do, no matter what you can do, nothing. Trust me, that's it. And I told him, I will go back to my cage. There is a small opening like that. They call it beanhole. And I told him, my food, my medicine, and my pepper spray came from from the hole.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
with that kind of belief, that defeated their theory, their torture tactics, or their method, enhanced interrogation technique or enhanced torture technique. Simply that because you have that plea, you have that belief, you have that faith. So when you,
That's important what you are saying. I mean, just I'm also inviting many of our listeners who believe in God that every time that there is a very very difficult moment in our life, I noticed this. We do not say, "Oh my dad," or "Oh my mom," or "Oh my children." We say,
yeah,
"Oh my God." And
yes,
then we say, oh Allah, the book is full of, I mean, Allah, help me, I'm the same. It's just, okay, please help me go through this. And this is, you are the only one, the only. So how did this experience helped you? I mean, first of all, would you feel close to God, Allah, or no? And if yes, how this experience helped you to get close?
I think. Sorry, you're cut off a little. I think your internet is. I think mine now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so no worries. We are going to go through this, Aman. So I'm not going to give up on internet or anything. I'm just
So
enjoying the
basically, okay,
conversation. So
go ahead. Repeat your question.
the question is, would you believe that this experience? Would you believe that this experience really made you go closer to God whatsoever, or no?
You know, you know, as I told you, the things that make you who you are, the way you grow up, the way you been raised, the way you have taught, your education, your knowledge, your experience, your memories. That's the package that will. This is your tools. This is, and you need to use them. You need to utilize them. If you don't know yourself, because in jail you have a lot of time to think, and there is a lot of hardship. So, for example, we were disconnected from the world. separated. There is no communication whatsoever. We had only each other. So we start sharing stories, knowledge, experience, memories, also building a relationship, brotherhood, friendship, even with guards. Because when you stay in a prison for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, the more you stay, the more you are distanced from your previous life, from family, from memories, knowledge, experience, actually from who you are. And in jail, you will start construct a new you, a new life, memories, experience, knowledge, relationship, emotions, and this is will be part of your life regardless. Because in my life, 15 years in jail, so that shaped me, who I am, shaped my character, shaped my thoughts, my many things. So yeah, I mean, I believe that, and my ordeal, my prison brought me close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially, you know I study, especially in our school, we used to study a lot of Islamic materials and religion, and so on. And one of the prophets hadith or saying, he said, I was only sent to perfect the manners, or the good characters.
Mhm,
So at Guantanamo, I memorized this hadith. إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I
mhm.
was sent only to perfect the good characters. So I was saying, I mean, like, I looked at that saying, what does it mean? So it become like developed as a person, which your behavior with your creator, with yourself, with your family, with your neighbors, with your environment, with your even with your foes or enemies, everything should be regulated. Everything should be based on fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, based on respect, based on there is no your own interest. You have to get rid of that. You cannot hit a person because he's black or white. At Guantanamo was crazy. The first time at Guantanamo, I learned that people hate each other because their color. Was what? They said, yes, black or white. I said, this is the first time, but we have something worse. We have the sectarian conflict. So it's a test. So I start learning a lot about myself. I start, learning from especially the brothers who older than me, because at Guantanamo it was really hard to have any books. And the more you stay, you are deteriorated. You would be deteriorate mentally, psychologically, and even intellectually, because the knowledge, that what left us as human being. You know, as Muslim, when I told my brothers, the first word in Quran was revealed by the Jibril to Prophet Muhammad sallam, and
Read.
read. And that, like, I told my brothers, this was the most important meeting between heaven and earth, and it will be the last meeting in such, because as Muslim we believe the prophet was the last prophet, none of them. And I told them that meeting started with one word, and it kept repeat over and over again: read, read. The prophet said, like, I cannot read, I'm illiterate. He said, read. And it was a serious meeting. Imagine, we said as Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent, Jibril. He's the highest rank among angels. He sent to the prophet, and this is really important. And he chose that this is the last person, this is the last in this message, started with read, then mentioned the pen. So what left us as humans, it's really the knowledge, the healthy knowledge that can brought us together, that create peace, that start constructing peace within us, that we can see it in our life and in environment. One day at
Mhm.
Guantanamo, I taught one of the illiterate Afghanis. We taught him to how to learn and read. Wallahi, he told me literally. He said, I never felt free until I am able to read and write. He said,
Excellent.
he
So,
said,
on this
he said,
case, go
he
ahead
said,
and
he
finish your
said, I am,
sentence.
he said, I am a prisoner. I'm detained here, but No, no, no. This is not detention. This is not jail. Being an ignorant, this is the worst prison, slavery, and the worst painful pain I ever experienced.
So, for not being ignorant and for being absolutely knowledgeable and knowing what's going on, I believe that everyone needs to read. Don't Forget Us Here, Lost and Found in Guantanamo. I'm going to come back very quickly, Mansoor. When I come back, I couldn't help but thinking again about Viktor Franklin, his book, and your ideas. He, after interrogation and after all of those that happened to him, he started this kind of psychology of meaning of life. He said that after I left camp, I started just thinking about what is very precious, what is the most important thing in my life, and what is the meaning of my life. When I come back, I'm going to ask you what is the meaning of your life. You are watching and listening to Peace Mindedly, a podcast featuring peaceful bridge makers. For this hour, we are talking with Mansoor Adayfi, author of Don't Forget Us Here, Lost and Found in Guantanamo. Mansoor has published many opinion pieces and pieces in New York Times, including modern column writing for Modern Love column. He contributed to the graphic anthology Guantanamo Voices and the scholarly volume Witnessing Torture. He participated in the creation of award-winning documentary The Art of Now, Guantanamo. Currently, he's traveling. I'm going to ask about the art exhibition. I believe he's traveling with the art exhibition of the arts created by prisoners and inmates in Guantanamo. I believe he told me he's going to be in Chicago pretty soon, so I'm going to find out that very soon. Here, you are watching and listening to Peace Mindedly, and I would like to just very quickly mention that what we've prepared for you during for this season on Peace Mindedly. We are covering many topics that interests you. Those topics include what to cook during Ramadan, and also this story of a teenage Muslim girl survived genocide in Bosnia Herzegovina in 1994, and also the solution for the patriarchy has been created by some of the feminists within the Islamic context. And also we are going to talk about fashion and modest fashion and perhaps what to wear during Eid al-Fitr this year. Also, we have a workshop that is coming up. It's a family therapy by upholding Islamic values. 3 of our board members are working on that workshop. Please visit us on peacemindedly.com to learn about those workshops. If you would like to connect with us, this is the best way, info@peacemindedly.com. We listen to you, we read your comments, and if you have story ideas, if you think that there is a important person or a cool person that we should talk to, please let us know. We would like to get your opinion and your feedback. So back to this hour, we are talking with Mansoor Adayfi, author of, okay, Mansoor, where are you? You are here. Yes. Author of Lost and Found, Don't Forget Us Here, Lost and Found in Guantanamo. Okay, Mansoor, what is the meaning of your life? Have you ever contemplated over this phenomenon that this is the meaning of my life is this?
You know, of course, us as human beings, we are giving the brain, and the brain needs knowledge. Like what composes as a person as a person. It's not just the body, the vessel. No, there is, the body, the brain, the soul, and the heart, and each needs healthy nutrition. So the physical body needs healthy food, exercising, sleep, medicine, cleaning. The same thing. People usually take care of their physical body, but neglect their brain, their heart, their soul. So each that needs the proper nutrition for it. So for me, of course, when you have start, especially reach certain age, you would start like, what is the purpose of my life? Why I'm here? And as I told you, for us as an Muslim, and we know the purpose here, we were created as worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What means worship is not going to the mosque or fast. No, it means when we ask what's the worship, like it is the good deed and the good saying and the good intention. That all of it worshiping. When we do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the same time, like as you know, there is some certain praying and fasting, zakah we need to do, and the purpose for us. But also at the same, like you ask question, what's my purpose? Why I'm here? What I'm doing here? So, and there is many when like the same thing. When I was studying management, I found out in my research that people who reach their 60, they have done a lot, but then they they couldn't find the meaning of life. They work, they achieve family, but there is like a missing piece, the purpose of life. So for me, I know my purpose for my life, but at the same time, when at Guantanamo, I told myself when I leave Guantanamo, I'm going to start study Islam from the beginning. I found myself, I don't know anything about my religion. I don't know anything about, worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, I have some kind of knowledge, but I need to know more, really. I need to know more. I mean, why I'm here, why I'm doing. So why all this is happening? So it is my project, inshallah, to start, I start
So
reading.
maybe as I'm hearing to you, I'm just thinking maybe the meaning of your life might be to gain knowledge, because
You know,
throughout this conversation, what I'm picking is to know more, to understand more, to read. You learned English, you
but the
learned
knowledge,
computer
but also
skill.
the knowledge is just a mean,
Uh-huh.
the knowledge is just a mean or a tool to the biggest purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So each of us has to ask himself why I'm here, why I'm doing, why I was
Mm-hmm.
created in the first place, why I was chosen. It was just like something like that. No, I didn't think. For me, I didn't think so. Each of us created for a purpose and have a purpose, and we should also see like I would let the viewer and the listener to find their own purpose, regardless. Sometimes you need to zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
What you mean? Go back to the moon, take your chair, take your coffee, quiet, and sit then and look at the earth. What would you see? If you look down, you would see only water, small rock, and a lot of water. This is earth. This is earth, literally. The more you zoom in, you see buildings, people, whatever.
Well,
But
how about zooming in and finding your book? Where can we find your book? Tell me, where can we find your book?
so basically, you find my book wherever you can. I found in the United States.
Uh-huh.
So basically, what I would like to say about purpose in
Mm-hmm.
our life. I mean, many people feel lost, especially the young generation now,
Mm-hmm.
who is now become and they are being bombarded with an intense, a lot of information, a lot of contradiction, a lot of theories, a lot. So when I listened like 5 years ago, I was like, how the new generation would survive in that? I couldn't. It was scary, especially because in Guantanamo I was at 15 years. Then I came out. There's a lot of change, and there's a huge gap in my life. So for me, it was
What is the major issue you learned in Guantanamo?
to appreciate life. To
Mm-hmm.
appreciate life. Life is not just. It's not like being life. The life. I mean, peace of life. That,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to find yourself. Find your purpose. Find
And
your.
especially during pandemic, this has become even more poignant that we do need to appreciate life and take life easy for ourselves and for other human beings, and also to just enjoy life because
And
it's
freedom.
too
And
short.
when someone asked me what's freedom to you, I was asked
Uh-huh.
that question. I said freedom is life.
Mm-hmm.
Simply, yes, freedom is life. Uh, because when someone start cutting from your freedom, it takes something from your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, life freedom only is part in life. Maybe you can be alive if you are not free, you're still alive. But being alive, I mean, life have like your own life, your freedom, your y- you are free in this world. There's no fear. You can, yeah. Let's leave it there.
Yes, excellent. So you are listening and watching to Peace Mindedly, a podcast featuring peaceful bridge makers. I am talking for this hour. I was talking with Mansoor Adayfi, author of Don't Forget Us Here, Lost and Found in Guantanamo. It's the signature for our show. We ask our guests to share something meaningful about peace, about kindness and compassion. I really have had a blast talking with Mansoor, and he is a very good talker and very good speaker. Right now, it is around 9 p.m. for him and around 12 noon for us. So I'm just gonna have him to close the program for us. Mansoor, what can you share about peace, kindness, and compassion about in your life about yourself?
From our experience, you know, imagine at Guantanamo. I'm go back because I'm got to the point. 15 nationalities, different background, different mindset, different level of education, different culture, different languages. But, at the beginning, it was hard to communicate, to talk. It was hard to know the people. After years and years, that the diversity melted and become, I call the Guantanamo culture of the beautiful Guantanamo, brotherhood, friendship, and it helped us to survive at Guantanamo. When you ask me, I can tell you why that happened. It happened because accepting each other and loving each other. That what can like achieve peace, bring us closer to each other, loving each other, taking of each other, supporting each other, helping each other, taking care of each other regardless. This is can achieve peace within us. Like, for example, one of the shocking moments after Guantanamo when the pandemic broke 2 years ago, I'm really sad the way the world leaders handle it. It shows that they are failures. They they lack to the basic of leadership. Literally, at that moment there was panic, fear, and there was people need some kind of hope. People need some kind inspiration. On the top, the leaders, there was selfishness. There was, greed. I hope they would have handled it differently because it was, imagine the pandemic was really worse. It was like it could define the human future. And
Mm-hmm.
imagine in one scenario if those leadership gathered and I think will be different.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we but when every country by every man by himself, what we where we are now. So basically
So
what I like to say,
you can
what I like
find
to
plenty of arrogance or plenty of mismanagement in the leadership and in political system in any political hierarchy. My last comment. So we are gonna just finish, but I believe at the beginning of the show you said that you have two songs and you just mentioned three
yeah.
songs. You mentioned two of them. Are you interested in mentioning the last one?
I mean, yeah, the last one we're going to say the same song we used to sing with each other when brothers leave Guantanamo or go to the interrogation or leave the blocks and so on. And guys, like what I would like to share with you. I mean, why I'm sharing you, I share with you those moments that brought us together, moment of love and peace and acceptance. So when we say like goodbye to someone or like peace be with you, so we say, I will translate I will sing it, then I will translate it. So we'd say روح روح مع السلامة الله يزيدك أمن وسلامة روح روح مع السلامة الله يزيدك أمن وسلامة روح روح مع السلامة الله يزيدك أمن وسلامة. So basically we would sing like collectively, which mean go with peace. May Allah grant you more peace and safety. And I would like to say to you and to our dear viewers and listeners, go with peace. May Allah grant you and grant us more peace and more safety. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة
Inshallah.
الله وبركاته.
Inshallah. Thank you so much. And Khuda Hafiz.
Okay.